Hello and welcome to the show. We are back on BeamNG Drive with some more vehicles tackling the Proving Ground circuit, going to be, well, trying to survive for as long as possible, driving until they fall apart pretty much. And we start with a Piccolino. This is not a normal one though, this is the Baja spec, it's the game's Baja spec one. Now in general the Piccolinos have actually been quite good around this circuit. They've got, I think the convertible got 6 something miles, the normal one made it sort of 5 or so. They've done quite well for a very small, very light vehicle. So I kind of expect some of that to carry on here, because at the end of the day we have got much better suspension. I mean, one of the cars, we've got much better suspension, but the front's already collapsed. I take it back. I was about to say, I mean, one of the convertible died because the chassis got so buckled it actually beached itself on its own chassis. And I was thinking, well, this, with the ground clearance and everything, should be good. It's got suspension that's tough, can deal with the bumps for a while. That being said, it's already collapsed one corner, and that's a concern. That's a big concern. Yeah, if we've already got damage on that. Now, there is, of course, another school of thought, and we've talked about this often with off-road spec vehicles. What you get with these higher riding, more ground clearance, and softly sprung cars and trucks is they do bounce across some of the obstacles. Now, that's good to avoid damage to an extent, but excessive bouncing leads to them rolling over. And rolling over is bad for a vehicle with exposed wheels like this, because you can ping a wheel off. So we'll see how it goes. Won't have to worry about overheating. This is air-cooled, I believe, so we won't... I guess you can overheat it if you really work it incredibly hard, but it's not going to you're not going to have a radiator failure on this one. The temperature gauge doesn't always show air-cooled engines very well, so I'm not going to worry about that too much unless it becomes a problem, I guess. Over the shafted jump we go for the first time. It's that sort of hit that we hope the car can take a few times before it becomes issues. Landing, I think what did it is possibly landing slightly on a front corner over a jump, and like all the weight comes crashing down into that corner. I think that's what breaks it a smidge. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not the worst sort of suspension failure we've seen. It's only a bit broken, I think. Across the Dover jump we head. Everything is looking pretty good so far. Now, one of the things we see with rally cars, I mean, okay, this is more Baja spec, but the same kind of idea, is they generally will take, well, as you expect, they'll take a battering for a while. When they start going wrong, they tend to go wrong very quickly. They'll kind of survive with not too much problem, and then all of a sudden, big problem, and then stops. These can often be almost one-hit deaths with the rally cars sometimes. This is not quite as fast as some of the other rally cars, so we're not going to be hitting the jumps as hard as you might do with some vehicles. It's the really exposed wheels in this. It's not quite an open wheeler, but it's not far away from that. So if we roll, there's really no protection for the wheel. There's no protection for those getting snapped off, for example. So we don't want it falling over. We've got to be really careful. We really don't want the car to roll. It's sitting funny on its suspension for sure. It's that sort of hit there where it kind of lands on the corners. It's definitely not sat right. I can't actually tell quite what's gone, quite how it's gone. It's definitely not sat right. Ooh, somewhere. It is in... for a spin. It is in pretty good condition, though. In fact, it might be one of the best conditioned cars after a lap out of everything that's gone around here. Normally you get a little bit of damage. Visually wise, we're talking here. Mechanically wise, there is definitely something gone. The other concern I always have with the open wheels, especially like wheels that are, it's quite a long, I guess like suspension arms, quite a long travel with these. I feel like the wheels are very prone to getting snapped if you go sideways over, like the checkerboard. You go sideways over there, I'd really be worried about the wheels on this getting bent. It feels, it looks to me like the sort of car that could get into trouble with that. And an itchy nose and lost all momentum. Thankfully, it doesn't matter how fast you get around here, as long as you're going above 20 miles an hour, the vehicle will be continued to count, if you like. Oh, God, across here, I mean, you can see the shock going through it. Plus point for the Piccolino over other rally cars is it's light. There's simply less weight that is on the car, so less damaging forces, pretty much. We will soar through the air once again, and that's why we can deal with those landings. Sometimes even the big trucks, okay, some stuff gets really heavy duty suspension, and then sure, it'll take those jumps a few times, but it's much easier for a light car to deal with that kind of a landing. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if I can see anything in the suspension, like any bits that have snapped that are causing it grief. At the moment, I can't. At the moment, it seems all good. We're over the Dover jump there, no problem at all. I think the steering may be a little twisted. Again, it's not the worst in the world. We got a little bit of... actually, no, the steering is pretty good. Pretty good up there. Oh, let's get a land on the front corner. Don't really want that. I think we have to drive this engine pretty hard to keep it going. As I said, it's not the quickest vehicle in the world. It's by no means slow. It's absolutely not slow, but yeah, it's kind of always the right level of speed around this course. Fast enough to make jumps comfortably many times, but not so fast it damages itself like a rally car. You've got to be super careful so that it doesn't damage itself like you do with the drag cars, for example. Okay, it's another nice, it's a flat level landing. It gets a little bounced around, as is to be expected from this kind of vehicle. You know, much soft suspension, much higher ride height, through the sort of tarmac corners and these sort of bumps. It's going to have more movement from the vehicle. We're through the water, no problems at all this time around. It's looking good for this car, but as I said, I feel like this is one of those vehicles that it's going to be it's working right up until the point where it suddenly doesn't. It'll probably be, or sometimes you get with rally cars, you get like that one big hit that puts it in a really bad way, and then it's just a lap of desperately clawing its way around until it finally conks out. That is also something that we see with the rally cars. It depends on what gets hit. My big concerns: suspension is getting damaged, and what that's going to do with steering. I feel like steering is the most likely thing that's going to kill this, barring, I guess, maybe a big hit on the engine. I can't see, because the engine's at the back, so it's so difficult to hit it and damage it. All the damage is done really on the front end of the car. It's very rare that we see damage done on the rear. Oh, okay. It's starting to fly wonky over jumps now. That is concerning. Oh, in front of the spin, not quite. I don't know why it wanted to take that jump. I'm glad it did it at the much smaller, lower jump, because if it does that over shafted, or does it over crescendo, or even the one we're coming up to here, up to Dover, if it does that twist, it's going to just tear the front wheel off, pretty much. Oh, that's not the angle. Oh, actually, no, that's not too bad of an angle. Okay, we go for a first roll with the car. It was going to happen at some point. The landing wasn't too bad. It was kind of the bounce back up into the air that kind of got it. Is the rear okay? With how softly sprung this vehicle is, actually difficult to tell. That's not what I needed. That has done some damage. Oh, I think the rear was starting to get poorly. Anyway, it's just gradually got worse and worse to drive, and now that's in trouble. It's lost the rev count. Rev count has fallen out. Hold on. Hold on. Can I have a look at this? What fell out? Was there like there was definitely, it looked like a rev counter on the floor. I mean, it's got to have come from this. I don't know what happened there. Now, it's really bad to drive. It's pulling quite badly, and that's just because the wheel... I mean, I'm amazed that wheel stayed on, that it's twisted in such a manner. It is going to make matters worse, because every landing of every jump is going to do something unpredictable. We're not going to get smooth landings anymore, and that's bad. Well, we hit the wall and we got away with it. We're going to have problems probably at shafted, and we're probably going to see it roll a lot more now, until a wheel falls off that is vitally important. Small concerns are going to be for the spinners. We're not so bad handling, it's just if you lose control of it, that's when you're in trouble. Oh, just round we go. Maybe it was a headlight that fell out. Maybe it's a texture on a headlight that, I don't know. We're missing a headlight and another gauge is missing. I'm trying to figure out what that... It did look like a gauge, right? I'm not going mad. Maybe I am just going mad. That is a distinct possibility. Don't spin there. Okay, I'm actually glad it fell over. I'd much rather that fall over than do the alternatives. If it falls over, it doesn't snap a wheel off. But if this goes sideways, it rolls because of the way that wheel is angled. Ooh, we don't turn right very well anymore. Have we done further damage to the front of the car, or is that just... I think we might have done... I think we've done something else, either in that roll or across the checkerboard. It's definitely now even more oversteery than it was when I first did this damage. That is going to be a real pain. It's going to be a real difficulty getting across jumps now, because the rule of this, you've got to go fast as you can with a car. I mean, I can't drive this flat out anymore because, I mean, look at it. Can we pull it out the other side of these? We can. Oh, so if we oversteer it, spin it around, and then clonk kind of on the backside of the spinners. It would be funny, but not what we needed. Be the first vehicle that would have done it. But there we go. This is where I am concerned. I mean, we need a certain amount of speed to get up the jump. Oh, just the back end is desperate to come around, and I don't know whether I can get it up to the shafted jump without going backwards across it. That's a problem times now. Okay, we're not out of this yet. I am allowed to... If a vehicle can no longer make the course in the point where I have to grab reverse to get it around a corner, it's counted out. However, if it's from a spin off a jump, I'm allowed to grab reverse to get it going. This clearly can still make turns. It's still got some steering. Well, it can make some turns. Can it steer right? Yeah, surprisingly well, actually. Okay. I mean, that's literally the best outcome if we're going to lose a wheel, I think. We lost the best possible wheel if we are going to lose one. I don't want to lose a wheel, but if we're forced to, one of the we lose a rear wheel, we're done. I think we're dead in the water, especially if we lose the left. Oh! It's going to dig into the mud and flip there. I just couldn't get it to turn. We were carrying speed up there, and I could have turned in. I would have just spun off the ramp, and the last time we spun off a ramp, we lost a front wheel, so I guess it was better just to play in the mud pit. Has that collapsed that wheel over some more? Maybe. It's very unhappy. It might have a diff that allows it to be a one-wheel drive, just looking at that, which is also helping us drive at the moment. Oh, that sort of angle there is just going to make our rear wheel worse. It's doing good, though. I mean, the distance is great, considering... Well, okay, it's a Baja spec, but... yeah, it's doing well, and it's still keeping going despite this large level of damage, but every crash is making it worse now. Oh, we just lost the back end going over that crest. We're going to lose control, come over the jump. Oh, don't snap the wheel off. That's so dangerous for this car. With what's left of this car, any crash now is dangerous with this car. Pulling it back onto its wheels has its own hazards. It is a... This is a lot of funny angles. It's really not in a good shape, is it? Oh! It's just going to tip itself over. Well, the wheels come off the roof. It'd be fun. There isn't a way to attach the wheel. It'd be funny if the spare wheels could be reattached to the cars, but there's nothing you can do about that in Beam. If you went into the parts menu to add a part, for example, let's say you were going to sort of pretend, it resets the whole car. So can't do anything with that. But I know there'll be the inevitable comments, but that's the reason why. So this is now crunching the front end of the car. Oh, we're across there. I mean, mechanically speaking, it's busted, but drive speaking, nothing is stopping it from going yet. If that wheel folds in anymore, that might stop it from going. But we've still got steering, not good steering, but we can still counter steer. We can still turn to the right. Steering to the left now is basically let go of the wheel because it will pull itself that way. Don't spin. If you spin, you fall over. Now, Shallow Grave and the checkerboard are about to do a number on the front left corner of this car. I'm hoping I can kind of get it through. If we can just bounce it off the first part, get the front into the air, we can then kind of skate on through, or we can just fall over it again. Yeah, the problem is I've got to go a little bit fast there, because if I don't, the front just gets caught on the checkerboard. So you kind of want to... It's almost like getting up on the plane in a boat. You kind of want to get the front up in the air so that it's kind of skimming across the top of these obstacles rather than crashing into them. That's now really not how you want your vehicle driving. Although I think at this stage I'd actually rather that rear wheel fell off, because it's making so many more problems for me here. The vehicle is still going this. I feel like we're about to have a very... Well, we're going to have a tough time getting it through the spinners, I think. And then shafted jump, I'm very much worried about the landing of that. I don't know what it's going to do there. It's going to hit pretty hard, I should think. Come on, come on. There we go. Now, into the spinners we head. Oh, turn. Okay, we're still good. We can still make it through there. Helped that this thing is a very small vehicle, of course. Small vehicle, a very good turning circle to start with. It's got worse, but still very good. So, yeah, we can get through by the spinners. This is where it started going wrong for the car. Actually, it was off Dover, I think. It started going wrong with bending the rear up. This is where we lost the front wheel. Come on. Come on, buggy. Well, what's left of a Baja bug? Oh, that's a big crunch on the front, and it's another hit on the rear of the car as well. This is all concerning, really, for the Piccolino. But we flip it back onto its wheels. It doesn't want to give up. Guys, I drive, you actually see the whole thing twisting at the back. That's a concern. I mean, it's still got a quite powerful engine for what it is. This is a relatively fast spec of car, so there's a lot of twisting going on where it shouldn't. And how long that rear suspension, that rear hub can stay connected, I don't know. I fear if it does become one-wheel drive, which is looking quite possible, it's going to be so difficult to get any sort of control in, assuming the diff lets it, which I think it will. Off. Ah, no, don't twist like that. Oh, you've pogoed on the rear wheel. That is the worst thing, but it's still touching the ground just. It's at an angle that's drivable, but barely, really. I think the fact that we lost the front left wheel, and that when we go to steer right, the front side dips into the ground and the busted wheel comes off the ground. I think that's helping us keep going because it's not fighting us that much because it just gets unloaded as soon as we turn in. So that maybe has kind of helped a little bit. I mean, it's not helped, but like having two wheels at the front is better, but it's not had as disastrous an impact as it could have done, basically. And it's still going. That's the thing. This is a complete wreckmobile, but it is still going. Yes, it is spending a lot of time being righted, but when it is drive... Oh, well, as I say that, does this drive? This is the question now. As I say that, the wheel pings off. It was only a matter of time. We are a two-wheeled Baja bug, one-wheel drive, but we are good to continue because it'll balance itself out. Now, I've got to keep it above 20 miles, and this is the point I was about to go towards here. Oh, dear. Yeah, the point I was about to head towards here is that as long as the vehicle's still going above 20 miles an hour, it won't get counted out for the crawler rulings. And this is clearly capable of doing that. The spinning and the rolling and the righting it, there isn't a count out for number of times rolled or spun or anything like that. Oh god, the poor chassis now is going to take a lot of these hits. Oh, he's put on a great show. What did we have? It was the LMP style car, the something Motorsport I can't remember the name of it. I'm really sorry. A really cool mod, but not built for this kind of stuff. That was a tripod for a little while. Not a tripod, sorry, a bicycle for a little while. In a similar manner, lost a front wheel and a rear wheel in different corners, so it could just keep going. This is horrifically tough to drive. It just wants to spin. That's all it wants to do. But it's still quick enough, and it still has enough steering, almost too much steering at times. Oh, come on. There we go. The checkerboard is going to be a problem now. I fear, because it's just uncontrollable. Come on, Piccolino. You can do this. It's going to scrape all the underside of the car off, but we're fine. We're across. As spin as it may get hit by them, because if we lose control of the car, and I haven't got much, as you can plainly see. Control is somewhat limited by the loss of wheels. Oh no! It's fine. It's all okay. It's just doing the pirouettes. Oh, come on. We can make another lap. If this could make it 10 miles, it would be incredible. Surely this can't make it the furthest of anything in this condition. The thing that we do see sometimes, and part of the reason of the crawler rules introduction is as vehicles get damaged and they start slowing down, they stop taking as much damage because they're just hitting obstacles slower. And you can get to a point where a vehicle is just strong enough to kind of keep... just fast enough to not be counted out. Oh! God, that skimmed the door. But yeah, where a vehicle's so slow it can't damage itself all that much, but fast enough to keep going. And that's when you've got an off-road vehicle in that state, which this one here is. It can keep going for a surprising amount of time, despite the sort of absurdity of this. Come on, Piccolino. We've got to try and make some speed up for this jump, otherwise we're going to land really badly. Or we're just going to spin again as the weight transfer gets the better of us. There's going to come a point where this stops working, where we can't just keep doing whatever we're doing to get the thing driving. Oh, alright. Spun around. It may even have trouble. It might dig itself into a hillside or something to get counted out. But we're still above 20 miles an hour. It's very difficult to drive it at 30 or 40 miles an hour. Oh, Oh, we're going to fall over on the ramp. And we are now... Oh, if this cannot get going up the ramp, it would again be... It would be one of those things that counts out. We had the Baja truck got stuck trying to climb up the ramp with busted suspension and bodywork, basically. The car kind of ate itself, and that killed it. This should be able to... Oh... We might... might have to have a run-up for this. We'll give it another chance to try and get up here. But if it is completely... If it gets to a point where I physically can't get up the hill, then that would be a count-out for damage. I don't know if this can climb it. I don't know if the damage is so great that this may not be able to climb up the hill. We'll give it a couple of... As I said, we'll give it a couple of chances. So make it fair, but... I don't know if we can, because it digs itself in. Have you got the power? It's trying to fight me. It's trying to steer away from the way I want it to go. I don't think I can get that up the hill. We'll let it roll back. We'll give it one more try. Because I've got to try and not have it dig the rear of the vehicle in. If I go for any speed, it just spins because it's uncontrollable. We've got to try and, yeah... I think if we tackle the ramp, if we let it do its thing... Here we go. Oh, we're over the top. The front wheel is on the verge of falling off. The front wheel's lost any semblance of suspension going on there. There's no shock, there's no spring left in that, I think. So that may well come off when we hit Dover, if we make it that far. We have still got to get to 20 miles an hour, by the way, vehicle. We have been quite lenient with this in its attempts getting up the hill, but it wasn't completely dead, so there was sort of hope for it working. I mean, yeah, this is barely keeping alive, but it is keeping alive at the moment. I'm very worried about the front wheel when we hit the landing of Dover, because it twists the vehicle in such a way that it's going to land on that wheel, and if that wheel takes another hit, I think it's falling off. Even if we survive Dover, we've still got more jumps, we've still got the speed bumps after turn 1, we've got to get past the bloody checkerboard again, but the Piccolino is going... Oh, it lands very heavily on the front once more, but I think it took it more on the left side, sorry, rather than the right side, so we still... have a wheel. Is it going to dig itself into the mud? And we are allowed to pull vehicles clear if they get stuck in the mud. We've allowed sports cars to get away with that. So yes, this would get pulled out of the mud if it is wedged, which I think it is currently. Come on, you silly bugger. Get out of the mud. We do still have steering. Just. This is one of the most ridiculous drives I think I've seen from a vehicle here. It doesn't want to give up. It really does not want to give up around this course. I wasn't expecting this. I thought it might be tough. I wasn't quite expecting this kind of a... Oh, kind of a run from the car, and it's gone over again. Oh, okay, that was a little bit too violent. I was going for a quick... We've rated it so many times. We were going for the, fastest Shremek award. Come on, there's some steering. Okay. Can we survive the speed bumps? Can we survive any more hits on that front corner? I'm going to say probably not, because it's really on its last legs. Although I thought that 10 minutes ago, and yet here we are, still going. Go for another spin with the car. Oh, come on, there we go. Oh, as you put your foot down, the front end lifts, and that's normal for like a Baja vehicle. It's terrible for this when it's as broken, because the front end lifts and just lifts the steering off the ground. Oh! That is not what we needed. I just slightly made a mess with the steering and twitched it over the jump. Have I actually got any steering? It's quicker to spin it that way around because of the way it's broken. We do still have steering. Although now the other rear wheel is at a funny angle. I can barely steer to avoid the post. Come on, you still got to crack the 20 miles an hour. You have done. It's not much above it. It might even crack 30 as we head towards... Oh, that's going to be bad for the rear of it. Surely this cannot still be driving. There is a tree there. Don't get stuck in the tree. I can't pull you out of that one necessarily. Oh, here we go. We're back on the move again. This is remarkable stuff from the Baja vehicle. It is still clawing its way around the track. How is it going? It's still clearing the minimum speed. The rear wheel is hanging on by a thread. The front wheel's completely lost all suspension. It spins like crazy. We'll get it back facing the right way. I could blow the engine up doing some of these spins. I don't know. The engine's been very, very tough. I feel like the checkerboard might see this car dead, although I thought maybe the speed bumps at after turn 1 would. They haven't. Got to get through the shallow grave that's coming up here. Here we go. Into the water. We're going to go for a spin. That's fine. We'll point it back the right way. Out the other side. Come on, Beetle. We have got to navigate the spinners as well. When with this, that's not going to be easy. We may well spin trying to make this turn. We don't. That's good. The underside of the car gets hit to pieces. Ooh, no. Fall over. No. Back onto your wheels, Baha. We are not finished with you. Let's straighten it up. Twist it again. Everything is tweaked. Everything is buckled. I'm so glad that the wheels that have fallen off are opposite corners, because it does kind of sort itself out a little bit. But it is only just. The spinners are the next massive obstacle. As I said, we have still got surprising amounts of steering for a very busted car, and it is small, so it's got some of the best opportunity to get through the spinners, but one hit from them and that will be the end of this car. It's so broken I don't think it could survive. Here we go. We've got to try and get it, make the change direction. Oh, but not that much. Oh. Okay, can I right it here without getting it taken out even more by the spinners? And the car... is it too broken now? Is that just because of the angle that it was at on the hill that it didn't have left-hand steering? We can twist it around. So, it has taken a wallop off the spinners. And still the Baja Piccolino will not die around this course. This is one of the most remarkable rounds I've ever seen. I felt sure that was going to kill it. If we hit the spinners, I should say. I felt sure that would be the death of the Piccolino, but it's not. It continues to live, the most resilient car I've ever driven, I think, in some regards. And it's bent it so it's easier to drive it up the jump. We're going to make it up the jump this time without any problem. But it lands on the front of the car and it's still going. It is still crawling its way around. This might go to the top of the table, because it is just refusing to give up. And every time it looks like the steering's dead, the weight transfer puts all the weight on the wheel that needs it, and it makes the corner. We have still got enough drive and enough speed. If anything, that hit on the spinners has actually made it better to drive. It's actually fixed it a little bit, because it's buckled it in such a way that we now crab better. And then we can counter steer that crabbing, and it sorts itself out because the weight transfer goes. The spinners have helped us. This three-wheeled monstrosity has been helped, not three-wheeled, two-wheeled monstrosity has been helped by a hit from the 60 mile an hour spinner. That won't help. Although we landed on the bodywork, not the wheel. Okay. We'll flip it over again. Oh, we may have to drag it out with the node grabber, because I don't... no, Baja tyres have done the job. Actually, getting it out of there, I'm impressed. I guess it also had enough kind of run-up area. We just boot it and get some traction. I'm surprised it pulled itself out when it got stuck last time, but it is free once again. Oh, but every one of these jumps now is going to be hitting something. No jump is going to be taken at an angle that I want, or an angle that is good for the car. The only plus point is it's not really going fast enough necessarily to do too much damage to itself. On these ones anyway. Oh, spin it around and we continue onwards. I don't know how it's doing this. I don't know how it is still alive. I mean, the spinners are going to... I think we're going to hit the spinners most times, because I just don't know if we've got the control anymore to avoid them. Then that's potentially going to be the biggest of concerns. Oh. Again, we land on the front wheel. It's not doing necessarily enough damage to really kill it. Can we get it moving? Yes, we can. I'm having to figure out ways to drive this now, completely different. Like if I feel it start oversteering, I have to just completely let off the throttle and get that weight transfer to pull it straight back forward, and that's completely different to what you might normally do and how to deal with some of this stuff. Oh, we're just going to spin dryer it across the speed bumps. That's fine. We'll sit it up on the... Such a weird thing to drive. Such a weird thing to drive, but it is still going as we head down towards the first corner. Is that might be the spare wheel that's fallen off down there? We're heading up towards the speed bumps now. We're at 30 miles an hour as we hit them. It is across remarkably well, actually, considering the state this car is in. It is across there, but we're going to go for another roll. It's going to be more bending of that rear wheel. It might actually come back down. I was getting ready to go find the mouse and drag the car back over it again, but no, it sorted itself out. I am in awe of this vehicle. We've seen some resilient drives from cars around this circuit, and in the past we've seen some really resilient drives. And while I think this might be the furthest anything, and while it being a Baja vehicle, being an off-road spec, it's somehow less surprising. Also, look at what's left of it. It can be whatever spec it likes. The fact is, it's made it on 2 wheels further than a lot of cars have made it from brand new. Oh, come on. I mean, it is barely keeping alive above the crawler roll, and I'm going to have trouble here because we ran wide. I just couldn't pull it across. We're going to run into obstacles because I simply don't have the steering anymore to do anything about it. Have we got a bigger problem here, though? Possibly, if I can't get it going again. If I can't get it steering to the left, we may have problems here. Can I get it steering to the left? Oh, can I spin it around on this? Oh dear, we're going to fall over again for the millionth time. Oh, it was coming back down. I think the way it's broken is now so broken that it is straighting itself up. Can I get any steering? Yes. Just about. The hills are playing havoc with it at the moment, which is not helping matters. It definitely still has steering lock. So it's obviously suspension geometry that's giving it grief there. We have got going. It's still alive. That didn't kill it. Okay, across the checkerboard we go. The engine's lost all the temperature because I'm just not doing anything with it. We're off power for so long. We were playing in the water as well a fair bit, I guess. That might have done it. It's definitely getting worse. Although I keep saying that, it is getting worse and worse to drive. But it's not stopping. We're back up to 30 miles an hour again before we plough into a sand trap, and I can't pull the vehicle away from it. The Toblerones are up next. We're going to cross these. Hopefully well. Yeah, it is good for the Piccolino here. The spinners are a huge concern because just about anything can happen trying to get this to fit through these. Oh, like that. It doesn't matter that the fuel tank's gone, I don't think. I don't think I got drive. I think it is chassis damage. It's gone. It's gone. I went to the steering and it was just nothing, and there's just nothing left going into there. Knew there was going to be a potential trouble. I wonder if I can... I've still got fuel, so I can do this. Can I get it to be punted clear? Technically speaking, we did. It made it slightly further along out of the spinners. I was hoping it was going to pump me along the track, not into the infield, but technically got further. It was the last use of a dying engine to catapult it along. That is remarkable. That thing is so horrible to drive, but it kept going. As I said, it kept going on 2 wheels longer than most. I say longer than most, but longer than a lot of cars have gone on all 4 from completely fresh. That is how resilient the Piccolino was. In the end, the steering damage in close confines is just too much to deal with. Yeah, that is one of the most resilient and probably most remarkable runs I've ever seen around this course. On to the leaderboard, and the Baja Piccolino will go into a 5th position. It was a hell of a drive. There's no doubt about that. While the distance indicator is never 100% accurate because it measures the distance based on wheel rotations, which in a car that's been on 2 wheels for a lot of it is actually surprisingly accurate that it's as close as it was. But yeah, it doesn't go further than the Roma, but it was still incredible drive. That the will to carry on from that vehicle was absolutely immense. I think it is the most impressive drive we've seen ever in a destruction series. But there we go. It's a 5th place for the car. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Of course, I shall link all the mods used in the description if you want to download them and have a go with them yourself. That, though, shall be it from me. Until next time, goodbye.